What happens when you stop marketing is that you're going to put yourself on a roller coaster.
I love bookkeeping.
Hi, it's Ben Robinson, and today we're going to talk about how you get bookkeeping clients, and specifically how you go about getting bookkeeping clients online. Now, if you'd like to check out all of the episodes of I Love Bookkeeping, please go to that domain, ilovebookkeeping.com, because you'll find all of the episodes as well as the show notes, information about our sister products, and all of the good stuff that's on there. So be sure and check that out. Now, how do you get bookkeeping clients? This is something that's very important because everybody needs to be marketing. It doesn't mean that you have to take on clients, but one of the cardinal sins that I see in business, okay, not just our bookkeeping businesses, but in business in general, is that they stop marketing. And what happens when you stop marketing is that you're going to put yourself on a roller coaster. So before we talk about the methods, the means in which you're going to go about and get bookkeeping clients offline or online, here is truth number one. Never, ever stop marketing. Now, I know it happens, right? You're in busy season. You're getting new clients. You've got your existing clients. You don't want any more clients. Well, just because you're marketing doesn't mean that you have to take on a client, but it doesn't mean that you're going to stop. Your message needs to be going out into the marketplace always, so that when let's say that May comes along, right, and you're no longer as busy, you don't want to start up the marketing there because the engine takes a while to warm up. It takes months to get the things going. So if we stop and start, that's one of the cardinal sins in a bookkeeping business. Make sure that your marketing never stops. So how do we go about and get clients? Well, here's a great axiom that I heard, I believe it was from Dan Kennedy, but it's basically this. We don't want one way in which to get 10 clients. We want 10 ways to get one client. And so what this means is a diversity in ways in which we get clients. So let me use an example. I had a friend and he was 100% reliant upon Facebook ads to get his business. And this is a great thing when it works, but what happens when Facebook ads changes their algorithm? What happens when they no longer allow his business to advertise? Well, he's lost his marketing spigot. He has no way in which to get clients. Now he's got to reinvent the wheel. Now, not that he should give up on Facebook ads, quite the contrary. He should add other outlets so that if that were to go away, if it were to decrease, he would be okay. So I want to encourage you to not just have one way to get clients, to have multiple ways to get clients. And for most of us, what we're trying to do with our businesses is transition over to virtual. So that means getting clients online. That means that you can serve clients no matter where you are and no matter where they are. So let's talk about they for just a minute. Let's talk about your market. Because before we start saying, how do I go about, where do I go getting clients, the very first thing that you have to do, and we've talked about it here extensively, is have a niche, to be able to define your market, because that is going to dictate where you go to find your clients. Remember, marketing is all about three important elements: your market first, then your message, and then your medium. So defining that market, because let's think about it from this perspective. Let's say that we're serving housing contractors. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Facebook? Are they in specialty groups? Are they at networking events? Well, I don't know until I define that market. So knowing a little bit about construction, yes, there are some people on LinkedIn, some contractors that are there, but most of them aren't. So would it be effective for me to go out there and do LinkedIn ads or to do LinkedIn posts and publishing and all that? Probably not. So the very first thing that you have to do is clearly define your market. Now, as an aside, it's not just enough to say, hey, I serve building contractors. It's what we have to do is go into what's called the jobs, pains, and gains. Okay? Gains. What are the things that they want? What are the things that your market truly desires? All right? Pains. What are the things that they're trying to avoid? They're trying to avoid doing the books, right? They're trying to avoid paying the bills. They want to be able to focus on doing the things that they enjoy inside of their business that they're really good at. What are the jobs that they have to do? Maybe it's up there on a Saturday at their business doing the books because nobody else can do them like they do them, or they don't have anybody. So it's not just saying, here's my market. It's having a deep understanding of who that market is. But that's an aside. But once you've clearly defined your market, now it's so much easier for you to go and find out where they are. So I want to give you a couple of places in which to go and look for them. So what we want to do first and foremost is find out, where is the industry hanging out? Okay. So first thing I do is I fire up Facebook and I go into the search bar and I type groups about the industry. Okay. Or I just type in the industry, the bookkeeping industry, or in this case, contractor industry. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for groups. Okay. I'm looking for groups, or I'm looking for pages that are about that subject. And if I'm seeing a lot of activity, if I'm seeing a lot of members in these groups, that's a good sign. Okay. So that might mean that I need to go and be on Facebook. But it's not just enough to see the list. It's also getting in there and looking at these groups. It's looking at how many people are on there, looking at the number of posts. Are they recent? Okay. In this case, Facebook is a great place to start. Okay. Now I'm not going to go into like how to foster that relationship. We'll do that in a later, episode here. But is this a good place for you to do? Is this a good place for you to invest your time getting into these groups and adding value? So just as a key, if you get into these groups, you're not going in there and saying, hey, I'm a bookkeeping professional and I serve contractors. What you're doing is you're going in there and you're adding value, you're answering questions, you're being thorough, and you're giving them that wow factor and not expecting anything in return, at least not immediately. But later on down the road, if you do that enough, you're going to get rewarded for it. So again, that's a great place to start. The next place, LinkedIn. Okay. Go over to LinkedIn and do the same thing that you did. Now it's a little bit harder. They don't have as a robust feature of LinkedIn. As a matter of fact, we're going to bring on a LinkedIn expert on the I Love Bookkeeping show sometime to talk about how you can foster that, how you can use it to your advantage. But maybe you go over there on LinkedIn and you don't find as much activity, but you do find some. So LinkedIn might be a second tier method for you to go about and get clients. Now, it's important at this point that we talk about the difference between marketing, advertising, and sales. Okay. Marketing is something that you put a message out there to the masses. Okay. Sales is when you're one-on-one, belly to belly with somebody, or at least in a virtual environment, face to face, using FaceTime or Skype or Zoom, something like that, to sell them. So what we're talking about here, we're focusing on the marketing aspect of it. We're focusing on where you put your message. So what I want to do also in this case, I looked at Facebook, I looked at LinkedIn. I want to figure out who are the industry big dogs. Okay. Who are the associations that deal with this industry? So I know that there is a huge industry for construction, for residential construction. So in this case, my client was residential construction. So I want to figure out who is the association or associations that have a presence that everybody belongs to, right? And what I want to do is start reverse engineering where they are. Because if I can find out where they are, then I'm also going to find out where their members are. Maybe they have a very vibrant message board, to use something from 10 years ago, some sort of group within their site, or maybe they're on Facebook, maybe they're on LinkedIn. It doesn't matter, but I want to find the industry big dogs. And speaking of that, I want to find out where their trade shows are. Now, this is very important. This is something that I very seldom see any bookkeeping professionals or CPAs ever doing, and that's going to trade shows. Trade shows are a freaking gold mine. And what I'll do is, gold mine, not gold mined, whatever. They're a gold mine, right? They're something that you can go to and foster because number one, you don't have a lot of competition there, if any competition. And number two, if you present yourself right, you'll walk away with a ton of prospective clients, if not actual clients who sign up there. Now, there's a right way to do networking events, there's a right way to do trade shows, and then there's a bunch of wrong ways to do it. And 99% of the booths that I see at these trade shows, they do a horrible job. We're not going to go into that today, but I want to tell you, we want to find out where these associations have their trade shows. Most of them are in Vegas, right? And so if you are able to get there, if you have the balls to go and do this, to get in front of them, to be at the trade show, on the convention floor, yes, it costs you money. But I tell you, the reward that you get from that will be instrumental. Now, that kind of breaks the rule of being virtual, but you're going to sell everybody that's at the show on the virtual nature of your business. So take the time, go out there and do that. And speaking of going to something, it's not just the trade shows, it's also networking. Okay. So it could be general networking at like a Rotary Club, your Chamber of Commerce, or it could be a local association of that big association. So while I'm on that site and while I'm exploring, I'm on there to see, hey, is there a local chapter here? Okay. So maybe it's a state, maybe it's a county, maybe it's a city. So how could you get in front of that group? Right? Can you get in front of that group? And when you're talking about getting in front of that group, it's presenting them with value. Again, this means that you're going to have to go and you're going to have to do something that's a physical nature, but that doesn't mean that you serve them that way. Okay. I don't care if your client is across the street or across the country or across the globe. You serve them in the same way. But if you go into these networking events, especially ones that are related to your market, then you're going to have a leg up. then you're going to be able to present information to them. You're going to give them value. And if somebody is interested, then you're going to sell them on the fact that you're virtual. And this is how we do business, not going to their office and all of that good stuff. Okay. Facebook, LinkedIn, trade shows, goldmine right there. Going to local networking events, especially ones that are related to your market. Now, let's talk about advertising. Okay, because up to this point, we've just talked about a lot of elbow grease. The trade show would cost you some money, and depending upon the size of it, it could cost you a substantial amount of money. But everything else is pretty much just putting in the legwork, putting in the time, putting in the energy to give them value. Value first. That's very important. That's one of our goals here, is to provide value first, and that's something that you should be doing with your clients as well. Okay, so thinking about all the different places that your client is. Okay, online. Now that's where we really want to focus initially. Okay, but also we want to think about, where could I get in front of them physically? There's nothing more powerful than standing belly to belly with somebody who's in your market and selling them eye to eye. For a lot of us, that's not something that we want to do, and that's fine. Okay, but let's go back to talking about ads, because I hear all the time, you know what? I hear Facebook ads are great. I hear, doing something, a banner ad, that would be great. And maybe, okay. I don't suggest that you spend a lot of money on advertising, at least initially. And I say that because what you have to do is, number one, clearly define your market. Okay. Don't do any advertising until you've done that. And as we mentioned at the very beginning, it's not just saying, hey, this is my market, right? It's knowing their jobs, pains, and gains. Being able to come up with a true value proposition that you have of how you help them to achieve the gains, how you help them to avoid the pains, and how you take away those jobs that they really don't like doing. So that's an understanding. So that's the very first thing. And then we have to refine our message. And where do we refine our message? In speaking with our clients one-on-one. Okay. Experience with them. And only then, when we have our market clearly defined, when we know the message and we know our value proposition, can we go to the media. Okay. And the media in this case would be a Facebook ad or a Google ad. Okay. Something like that. It could be a Google AdWords or a Google display or a Facebook ad. A native ad, all these different things that you could do. But one big, huge mistake that I see so many people do, and I love it because this gives you security, it gives us security, is that they just go out there and throw something up on Facebook, an ad, and think that it's going to work. They throw up a little lead magnet of a white paper or something, and there's no value there. Okay. Because people are reluctant to give you their information if you don't give them value first. But again, that's a subject for a different time. So advertising, I would urge you to go with caution until you've nailed your market, until you've nailed your message. Don't go after the advertising. But once you do, now you have a powerful medium at your hand. Okay. So those are just a few ways to go about getting clients online. Now, the last one that I want to talk about is your website, your blog. And I did an episode earlier with Dave Rice. So Dave, this is a shout out to you because he got this entirely right. He said the sole focus of my website is to get my potential client to do one thing, and that's to contact me. And that is so true. And I see so many people putting out blogs, all this stuff, and there's no call to action. There's no schedule an appointment or anything like that. So as you're creating your site, or as you have your existing site, I want you to think on every single page, what's the intent? What's the natural trail for my client, my prospective client? Where do I want them to go? What's the action that I want them to take? Because you're not just putting information out there for information's sake. That's great. That's value first, but you want to lead them down a natural path. And that path is having a consultation with you. So in a later episode, we'll actually do how you go about and function on all this. And by the way, our programs, we have programs that are solely focused on how you go about getting clients in your bookkeeping business, a myriad of ways, but it is not going to make any difference until we clearly know that market. You clearly have that message. Okay. So there's just a few ways that we'll continue to revisit this because marketing is such an important element. And if you take nothing else away from this show here today, it's that you never, ever stop marketing. This is Ben Robinson. I encourage you to go to ilovebookkeeping.com, check out all the shows that we have, as well as the notes and all kinds of goodies there. Go to ilovebookkeeping.com. And until next time, thank you for being a great bookkeeping professional. Head on over to ilovebookkeeping.com. There, you're going to find all of the shows, the notes, and some other great goodies that we have for you there. Now, if you'd like to be a guest on the I Love Bookkeeping show, there is a link that says Be a Guest. Go in there and we'll walk you through the process of getting on the show. And finally, to discover more about our programs, go to the courses page on the ilovebookkeeping.com site. There you have it, another great episode of I Love Bookkeeping. Thank you for being a proud listener, and thank you for being a bookkeeping professional. Enjoy the rest of your week.
I love bookkeeping. Here's a little shout to all my friends working hard at keeping the books. You want to